This is Fair TV. I'm Janine Jackson. The 10th anniversary of the start of the Iraq War was noted throughout the media, and since the war has come to be in some ways defined by media's failure, some of those remembrances can be a little awkward. MSNBC morning host Joe Scarborough decided March 19th that it was important to note that Democrats and major media outlets were as guilty of rushing into war as George W. Bush.
Victory has 100 fathers, but defeat is an orphan. And on the day that President Bush strode around the USS Abraham Lincoln in his flight suit to declare victory, Republicans and Democrats alike were lining up with papers to prove their paternity. How short our memory is.
Well, sure, but some of us have other memories too, like that of very vocal war booster Joe Scarborough declaring before that mission accomplished speech that the war was over and it was time for critics and anti-war activists to apologize. I'm waiting to hear the words "I was wrong." Their wartime predictions were arrogant, they were misguided, and they were dead wrong. Maybe, just maybe, these self-anointed critics will learn from their mistakes, but I doubt it. Yes, learning from mistakes is indeed a good thing. A rape trial in Steubenville, Ohio garnered national media attention, in part because much of the evidence was shared on social media sites like Twitter, and because many in the town seemed to rally around the accused rapists. As shocking as that was to many people, many viewers were also surprised by the way CNN covered the March 17th announcement of the guilty verdicts. Anchor Candy Crowley and correspondent Poppy Harlow seemed primarily concerned with the feelings of the two convicted rapists. Here's Harlow.
I've never experienced anything like it, Candy. It was incredibly emotional, incredibly difficult even for an outsider like me to watch what happened as these two young men that had such promising futures, star football players, very good students, literally watched as they believed their life fell apart.
Crowley then asked a CNN legal expert what the lasting effects of this might be for the rapists. The analyst talked about the difficulties of being labeled sex offenders. While all of this emphasis on the pain and difficulties that might be suffered by the perpetrators of a horrible crime crossed a line for many viewers, and thousands signed petitions to CNN. But that network wasn't the only one to exercise this odd judgment. ABC reporter Elizabeth Vargas interviewed one of the accused rapists, asking him, "What were the most hurtful things people were saying about you?" The Steubenville crime may yet spark some much-needed conversation about rape in U.S. culture. It just doesn't seem likely to happen in the corporate media. Finally, the Bureau of Investigative Journalism in London has estimated that at least 411 civilians, or as many as 884, were among some 2,500 to 3,500 people killed in CIA drone strikes in Pakistan. The Washington Post includes that information in a March 15th piece about a UNN special envoy's finding that those strikes violated Pakistan's sovereignty and that drones had resulted in far more civilian casualties than the U.S. government has recognized. It's a strong argument, but the Post undercuts it with a comment from Senator Dianne Feinstein, which puts the number of civilian deaths much lower. Feinstein said, quote, "The figures we have obtained from the executive branch, which we have done our utmost to verify, confirm that the number of civilian casualties that have resulted from such strikes each year has typically been in the single digits." So, on the one hand, the Bureau has done extensive work documenting drone strikes, but on the other hand, one senator says the government told her it's not that bad. The thing is, there is a way to report the differences between Feinstein's claim and other estimates. Connor Friedersdorf did so in The Atlantic, contrasting the Bureau's totals with those of the New America Foundation and other researchers. None of these projects supports Feinstein's claim. His conclusion was there's no reason to treat Feinstein's claim as though it's credible because all the publicly available information is arrayed against that position. But you would certainly never get that idea from a story that presents her view as one of two sides in the drone deaths debate. I'm Janine Jackson. This is Fair TV.